haven't met you before, my name is Luke Safford, and on staff with Tucson Audubon. I have a few different roles. Program, uh, I manage the volunteer program. That's one of the big things. The other thing is I manage the Southeast Arizona Birding Festival. Usually happens the second week of August. It'll be a little bit different this year. We'll have some virtual events for it that you'll see coming up soon. And then I also manage our engagement, so virtual events, field trips, those sorts of things. So if you have any questions about those, feel free to ask me later on or email me. We'll have some time for questions at the end that if you have anything there, you can ask then. But then also throughout the presentation, we'll have some opportunities for questions. And so the best way to get some, anytime someone gives a presentation, different thoughts or questions or different things come up that you want to just get out to everyone. So since we have you on mute, you can't share it verbally, but you can definitely share it through the chat box. And so some of you are already using the chat. And so what I would encourage you to do is use that liberally throughout the whole presentation. And to use the chat, there's a little icon down at the bottom. It says chat with a thought bubble above it. You can click on that. It'll bring up the chat box and you can type in something like Judy just said, "Hi, Mary and Dave." I'll do a little hi right here. So you can just kind of see what it looks like. But use that. So throughout the presentation, we have 3 volunteers who are helping me today. Thank you to Marlene. Thank you to Tori. Thank you to Ken. They're going to be monitoring this chat box. And then at certain times throughout the presentation, they'll stop me and share any of those questions that you have or thoughts with me. And so we'll hit on those. So just know that your question or thought we'll get to that whenever it's appropriate. At the end of the session, there's also a way for you to raise your hand so you can ask a question verbally if you want to. So to raise your hand, if you have your participants and chat box open, I believe that Marlene or Tori can correct me if I'm wrong, but on the participant, if you have the participant thing open, it'll show you the list of all the people that are on the talk. And then below it, it'll say invite, unmute me, or raise hand. And so you can click on raise hand, and it'll bring a little blue hand up. And that just alerts us that you have something that you want to say, a question or something like that. And so one of them will call on you when it's an appropriate time. Also, we're going to be recording this. So, you know, it's a nice thing. We always prefer for people to be on the call with us, but some people sign up for it and aren't able to be on the call. So we record it so we can send it to them later, but we'll send it to everyone, hopefully later this afternoon. So just be aware that that'll be coming to you along with a wrap up of this presentation in email form later. So without further ado, yeah, Sheila says, thank you, volunteers. You know, I can't say it enough. About a month ago, I was doing a presentation like this on my own, trying to monitor the chat, give the presentation, and think all at the same time. And sometimes that just doesn't work, as you probably could guess. And so I put a call out for volunteers during that presentation, and they stepped up right away. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna, yeah, Tori. I'm gonna share my screen here, and I think Tori's gonna start recording us.
I already started.
Oh, perfect. See, that's awesome. And we'll talk about birding Southeast Arizona in July. So honestly, June is probably the toughest month when it comes to finding a good location to go birding around Southeast Arizona. It's just hot, it's dry. Most of our migrants are already past. There's a few that still come through, like yellow-billed cuckoo. It's actually still even coming through right now. Lesser nighthawk, common nighthawks, they come through late. Mississippi kites. And so June is really tough. July starts getting a little bit easier. So I'm thankful to move past June. I don't know if you've kind of experienced that same thing when it comes to birding. This last month, it's just all about getting up in the high elevation and getting out of the dry lower desert and getting up high. And so most of us, when we think about birding in this area in July, we kind of think the same thing, you know, get up high. Of course, we would say, you know, get up Mount Lemon. We can't do that right now, of course. But we'd say, you know, go up into Madera Canyon, Carrie Nation Trail, the Huachucas, Carr Canyon, Miller Canyon. Those are all still really good spots to go birding in July because it's cooler up in the higher elevation. We know that. So we want to get up there. But what I thought I would do today is that just go over some other areas that are not high elevation, but are also really good birding in July. So the way I structured this is, I was thinking, if I had a free day to go out birding around here in the month of July, where would I want to go? What would I go and see that I couldn't see in a different month? So that's how I always look at these things. Like, if I went July 15th, what would I see that I couldn't see June 15th or August 15th? And believe it or not, there's different things in every month. That's the beauty of living here in Southeast Arizona with, you know, all the different habitats, the kind of changing of the season, like the monsoon season or the dry season, or we're just lucky that way. So the first spot that I thought of where would I go in July? And it's Las Cienegas. It's the grasslands. And the great thing about July is that we start getting these huge monsoons. And it started yesterday, which I was so excited about. Here's a picture of Las Cienegas grasslands with it's not a huge monsoon, but you can see it's starting to whip up a little bit. This is just actually taken last week. I knew I was going to talk about Las Cienegas during this talk, so I went there and took some pictures ahead of time. And believe it or not, I had a little bit of a rainstorm last Saturday. So this is what you can expect when you're out there at Las Cienegas, which is just north of Sonoita. So if you're going down out of Tucson, going east on I-10, you'll take the Patagonia-Sonoita exit and follow that highway down. And before you get to Sonoita, you'll see a turnoff for Empire Ranch in Las Cienegas. And the grasslands are an amazing place to go birding in July, because these monsoons start creating this whole new breeding season that happens for us. And two of the different birds that really become even more apparent in the grasslands and start breeding in July are these two sparrows right here, Cassin sparrow and Bottery sparrows. Both these pictures were taken by my friend Homer Hansen, who knows much more about these sparrows than I do. So if you ever have a chance to talk with Homer or attend one of his classes, I would encourage you to do so. I learn something about sparrows every time I talk with him. But these two sparrows are specialty birds of our grasslands that breed here in July and August. So actually, if you're looking for, there are some Cassin sparrows that are probably around, all year. But what happens May, June, the really dry months, they'll be silent. You won't hear them at all. And hearing them is really one of the best clues to find them. As you can see, they're beautiful brown birds that probably can be very confusing, but their calls are actually what really stand out. Now I have on here, actually, I think I forgot. Let me stop share for just a second. And I have to reshare so that I can make sure that our sound goes through, because I have a Cassin sparrow song that's on here. Okay. So you should be able to hear casting sparrow. I'm gonna play it right here. I'm gonna be quiet, not talk, give myself a chance to drink water and listen to this casting sparrow. All right. So I hope you were able to. Marlene, were you able to hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure that sound came through. But so that's the beautiful thing about this casting sparrow is the song, even more so than the bird. The bird can be frustratingly brown, but what's cool in July, as soon as the monsoons start hitting, what they start doing is called skylarking. So skylarking is when they fly it straight up with these fluttering wings, the males do. They flutter the wings really high up, and then they get to a certain point, and then they just fold their wings and zoom straight back down to a very low perch. And they'll do this constantly, especially right after a monsoon rain. So what I'll tell you is that sometimes the roads in Las Cienegas can get a little bit muddy, so just be careful about that. Be careful where you drive. But if you can be there right after a monsoon storm, like late afternoon, and it just rained, and you're out in a grassland area, here's a map, you will see these birds do this cool skylarking thing. It's something you'll only be able to see in July and August too, but mostly in July when they're first starting to get into their breeding mode. So, you know, what he's doing, this casting sparrow and skylarks, is, you know, trying to impress the female casting sparrows. So it's really apparent in July. These next 3-4 weeks will just be a great time to do it, to go there and to witness it. The Bottery sparrows, another sparrow, much like casting sparrow, has a different song. I'd encourage you to go to Zeno Canto or maybe eBird and listen to them. Always good to listen to them before you go out. In fact, you can even like put it on your phone and listen to it on the car ride into Las Cienegas. So here's Highway 83. Some of us have been to Las Cienegas before, others of us haven't. So if you've never been there, it's just good to know where you're going. So you go south here to Sonoita. Up north, that's Interstate 10 in Tucson. So you'll go through like there's a border checkpoint, like right here, just to the left of where it says Empire Ranch Road. And then you'll come up this hill, and then you'll take a left, you'll go east on Empire Ranch Road, and it curves over here. I'll show you a better map for Empire Ranch. I'll talk about that soon. But instead of turning left into Empire Ranch, you'll turn right. You'll go on this 900 road, this gray road right here. And anywhere through here, really, you can go the 900 road, and it turns south right here. This south part right here, as it goes back down to Highway 82, can be a really good spot for casting sparrows. And I've had them right in this section in between the turnoff for Maternity Well and Empire Ranch. Through here, there's a little bit more mesquites. And so they'll be in through here too. But those are the two places I would look, in between Maternity Well and Empire Ranch Road, and then as you go south on the 900 road. That's a great area for them. So there's other things to look at in Las Cienegas during this time of year, other than just brown sparrows. You see this little place right here. It says, make sure I say it right, Cieneguita. I think that's how you say it, Cieneguita. So this, and you have Gardner, Mud Springs, Road Canyon. Those are all prairie dog colonies. So this one at Cieneguita is probably the best prairie dog colony to go check out. This is also a really cool thing to go look at this month. This is what it looks like right here. There's some interpretive signs at that Cieneguita spot. And let's go back. So how you get there is instead of taking that left Empire Ranch, you take the 900 road to the right, to the southeast. And then there, right here, there's a cattle guard. You can kind of see where there's like a kind of a stream that goes through there, kind of a wash or something. There should be a cattle guard right there if I remember right. And then it'll be a dirt road that goes over here. What I would say is right in this area, right before the little diamond for Cieneguita, there's a really big muddy spot. If there's any mud there whatsoever, don't drive through it. Resist the urge to get your car all cool looking and muddy, park there, and then walk over here. I've known many people who have gotten their car or 15-passenger van stuck there. We got one stuck during the festival one time. But this is a really cool area. There's prairie dogs everywhere. And, you know, I know this is about birds, but it's really cool all the mammals that are really active in July in this grassland area. There's these prairie dogs or pronghorn antelope right through here. But then this is a cool spot to look for burrowing owl, loggerhead shrike. There's been some rare birds seen in here the past few years. There was a upland sandpiper seen at this prairie dog colony one August, and it's just there's killdeer. It's a great spot to just kind of check out. It's a fun area. Also during July, no trip to Las Cienegas would be complete without a stop at Empire Ranch. Empire Ranch is a historic ranch site that's been around for, I think, like 140 years. They've been having cattle there and working that area for quite some time. There was a fire that came through there a few years ago, so it burned some of the really, really large cottonwoods. You can see some of them are still standing. You can walk it. There's a trail system around the ranch houses that you can walk, or you can also walk down into the little stream bed here, which holds water sometimes. But right now it's dry, or at least it was when I went there on Friday. It's really fun to walk underneath these cottonwoods, especially, you know, early to late morning. There's a lot of good shade under there. And so here's a map of how to get to Empire Ranch. So this is Highway 83 down here in the bottom left corner. This Empire Ranch Road that winds over here. And you can see the dark green of the riparian section over here. And this section right here is where the ranch house is at. You can park right there. There's also a bathroom, probably the only bathroom in all of Las Cienegas. And I don't think it's that bad of a bathroom, so you can check it out there. I've used it before. It's not bad. But the trail system goes right through this whole area here, and then you can walk down in the bottomlands. I've seen wild turkey down there, blue grosbeaks, summer tanagers, but the best bird of them all in this area is yellow-billed cuckoo. And so I actually just got this picture the other day. It's the male on top with a stick, and he's passing the stick off to his female companion as a sign of, hey, I built a really cool nest for you. You want to play a role in building my nest? And so my friend Tom, who I was with, he actually got an even better picture with a better camera of the actual transition of the stick going into the other cuckoo's bill, which is really cool. But it's a really fun place to check out. And most of the time you hear the cuckoos before you see them. And so I want to play the yellow-billed cuckoo song for you, because I would almost say it's better than the bird, but seeing the bird is pretty awesome too. Much better than a cats and sparrow. But here, let's play this. All right. I love that sound. Tucson Audubon does a lot of work with yellow-billed cuckoos. You might have an opportunity to be involved in a survey with us if you're interested to volunteer to do that. I'm not sure how that's going to work this year with all the COVID stuff, but it's something that we're going to be involved in for quite some time. So if you're interested in yellow-billed cuckoo survey work with us, just let me know. That's something to think about. But this Empire Ranch area is just fabulous to walk through, and I encourage you to do that here in the next couple weeks. So we're going to talk about black-bellied whistling ducks soon. But
Luke, we have a
until then,
question.
yeah,
Luke,
let's do questions.
okay, we just have one question, and that's where to get the map, and maybe you could put it back up and they could take us a picture of it with their phone.
Yeah, so this map right here
Yeah,
is,
one.
it's specific to the prairie dog colonies. I do have a copy of it that if you're interested, you can email me as a reminder, and I'll send it to you. I'm not going to put it in the email that goes out to everyone, just for attachment reasons. But just send me a quick email. I'll get it to you as soon as I can. It may not be today, but I'll get this to you for sure. It is really helpful to have when looking for these specific colonies. I would say this: I've been to Cienegas and I've been to Road Canyon. I saw a lot more prairie dogs at the Cienegas spot. I have not been to Gardner or Mud Springs yet, but yeah, I can make sure to get that to you.
Then there's a couple more that just came in, and one is besides muddy after rains, how are the roads? Is high clearance needed?
High clearance shouldn't be needed. So this section right here that's in red is all paved. This is well, disregard. I don't know why this section right here, that's not a paved road, but this red right here is a paved road. It is really easy to drive into Empire Ranch. You could do that in any car. This gray road right here is a nice gravel road. It doesn't need high clearance at all, but if you do plan on going back to Cienegas or any of these other roads, this road right here is Curly Horse. It comes off of the highway down closer to Sonoyta, and it's paved for a good portion of it, but then it does turn into gravel and you can connect with the 900 road. I would have high clearance for that. If you just stick to the main road, you should be fine.
And then one other one is the Empire Ranch Road in Vail, Arizona.
So it's south of that. Actually, so here, I'll show you just so, let's see, I'm gonna go to new share. I can, don't look at my email. I can show you really quick here, just where it's at in relation to everything else. So here's Tucson, right here. And we got I-10 that comes down, and the turnoff for Las Cienegas is in Vail. So you'll see the big interstate sign that says Patagonia, Sonoyta, and you'll take that, and then you can see it. It winds its way through the northern foothills of the Santa Ritas, and then comes down into Las Cienegas here. You can see Sonoyta is right here. And so actually Las Cienegas is on both sides of Highway 82, but mostly north of it. And when we start talking in December and January about where to go, we'll talk about this Las Cienegas again, especially around Curly Horse Road and Davis Pasture, which is south of I-82. It's an amazing spot for long spurs. But anyways, that's another subject.
That's all the questions for now, Luke.
Okay, cool. Cool. All right, I'm gonna switch back to our PowerPoint. There we go. Cool, good questions. Thank you, everyone. All right, so here, I'm gonna go back to this map here real quick. You can see in between Empire Ranch, which is up here, and before it heads south, there's this spot called Cottonwood. It says Cottonwood Windmill. There's a little tank right there called Cottonwood Tank. That's another really good spot to stop, and could be an opportunity for you to see another bird that really starts becoming more apparent mid to late summer, and that's this one right here, black-bellied whistling duck. So they're fairly late arrivals into our region. They don't come until June, but start becoming a lot more apparent July and August. And so there's really two different spots where in July where I'd look for them. One is they're in the Las Cienegas area around Cottonwood Tank, but then also the Amado wastewater treatment plant, which actually I probably should have put a map on here of instead of just mentioning it. But if we go back over to this Google map, you can see Amado's over here south of I-19. You got Tucson. And you go south down I-19, past south of Green Valley. And then you have the Amado exit, which is the same exit for Arivaca. And so instead of going west to Arivaca, you go east and you get on this frontage road right here that goes north. And right here, in fact, I'll put it on satellite view. You see this little pond right here? That's the best spot in all of Southeast Arizona for black-bellied whistling duck. So I haven't been there for maybe about a month when they weren't around. And I haven't checked eBird to see if they're around there right now, but July is a great time to stop. Anytime you're going north or south on I-19, to stop there for the black-bellied whistling duck. And there's just like a little parking area here. You could probably, not even really a parking area, but you can just see there's a gate right here. And you just pull off the frontage road right here. You just turn off your car right there and you just scan this pond. And there's all sorts of weird stuff that happens through there, especially in July and August. We've had brown pelicans. We've had savings gull. But black-bellied whistling ducks will breed right there too. At least they have in past years. That's a cool spot to stop. And the reason, besides just a good time of year to see black-bellied whistling ducks, another reason I say that is because besides Las Cienegas, the next spot I would talk about is driving south on I-19 from Tucson to Tubac and looking for rose-throated bicards along the De Anza Trail, which is right through here. And let's switch back to our PowerPoint and I'll show you. Here's the De Anza Trail. It's a fairly good map. I just took this off the internet. So if you'd like to have this map, you could probably just type in De Anza Trail Tubac and images and it'll come up. But see, here's I-19, take exit 34. You wind your way over to Bridge Road. There's a little parking area right here next. There's a bridge, big bridge that crosses the trail right here. And you park right here by the bridge to look for rose-throated bicards. And so here's a very, I guess, a poor picture that I was able to take of a rose-throated bicard. It's a little shady. That's the best I've ever been able to do. I'm sure some of you could get a better picture. I just want to encourage you to go do that this month because it's a great time to find the bicards. As the monsoons kick up, the grasses and everything and the bushes that start growing along the Santa Cruz start getting taller and taller. And it's fun to walk through that in August as well, but it can get pretty high in August. So like right now, it's really easy walking. And the best part about a rose-throated bicard is, it says I'm signed out. You still got me, right, Marlene?
Yeah,
Okay. Did you see that pop up? I don't know if that popped up.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it said I signed out of Zoom. That's not good.
No.
But I'm still here.
Yeah.
The best part about a rose-throated bicard is its nest. You can see this big clump right here. And it hangs off the end of a branch. And then this huge foot, like football shaped nest that just hangs. I have no idea how it just hangs there, but it does. And it's usually right over the Santa Cruz River or whatever creek that it's above. But the Picards are actively going in and out of there. Probably right now as we speak. July is a great time to see them. And it's a fairly easy walk, and there's a lot of other birds that are breeding during this time along the De Anza Trail. And it just makes, again, you're underneath the cottonwoods. See, a theme here is like at Empire Ranch and here at the De Anza Trail is that even though it's warm out, you'll be unburdened by direct sunlight. You'll be underneath these huge cottonwoods. And honestly, if there's one thing that I really miss from being up in Washington State is walking along a flowing river or creek underneath the shade of some trees. And so that's one reason why I go in July as well, because I just want to feel that. And but seeing these Picard nests is something it's just really unbelievable. And so here, before I get to that mud hole that you just saw, just want to clarify a little bit about where to look for this specific Picard nest. If you park here at that Bridge Road parking lot, like I talked about outside of Tubac, what you do is you cross north over the road, you walk across the road, and you can see it. There's this trail that says 0.5 miles up to here. You can walk. Do not, I repeat, do not walk on the west side of the river. You won't have a very good look at it. So the first few times I went, I heard, oh, the Picards are 0.7 miles north Bridge Road along the Santa Cruz. So I just stayed on the trail and just walked up here. I couldn't find them. It took me a long time to figure out where to look for these. So I just want to spare you that time, even though it's a nice walk here too. But what you want to do is cross over the road, and then the trail also goes off to the right here and goes east across the river. There's a little footbridge. It may not be the most stable footbridge, and actually sometimes it gets blown out during monsoon storms. So usually it's there. If it's not there, it'll get put back eventually, but hopefully it's there. And another good reason to go in July before the monsoons get too crazy. You cross over here and there's a trail, sometimes a little hard to follow, but there is a trail that goes north on the east side of the river. And you want to go up about 0.7 miles. There'll be like you'll see the edges of a golf course over here as you walk up north. Once you start seeing that golf course, you know that you're getting close. You walk to this about 0.7 miles, and then you'll look over the river, and you'll see that, hopefully be able to find that nest that hangs over the river. Sometimes it can be a little tricky. It's helpful if there's other people around to like help you find it. Or maybe this year, you don't want other people to be around, so you just have to find it. But like I said, 0.7 miles, walk on the east side of the river and head north up here. And so as you walk up that trail, it's very flat. You can see kind of portions of the trail that wind through here. There'll be, if we have good rain, there'll be like these big mud puddles. I would say also check the mud puddles for snakes or bullfrogs or other cool herps that are lurking around there. This specific time that I went through here, I took a picture of, just with my phone, of this big mud hole because there was 27 bullfrogs lining it. It was one of the coolest things I ever saw. Bullfrogs are invasive. There probably should be lowland leopard frogs, but I mean, we'll take what we can get, I guess. But just another reminder that it's not always just about birds. You know, we have prairie dogs, we have pronghorn, then we have these bullfrogs and herps that are love these cottonwood riparian areas as well.
Luke, one person wanted to remind us that tall grass, there'll be chiggers. So
yeah. Okay, so Yeah, that's a really good point. So I have gotten some not really bad experiences at both of these locations from chiggers. They haven't been comfortable. So yeah, you're right, Marlene. That's a really good point. So I'm known for wearing shorts. Like I wear shorts almost all the time, and so I bring it on myself. But if you wear long pants, you could go full style and tuck them into your socks or however you want to do that. There's also insect repellent that I'd suggest to use. There's actually the worst case of chiggers I've ever had was at Florida Canyon, so be careful there as well. You're right. This is a time of year when it can get pretty nasty for that sort of thing. So before I talk about green kingfisher, it says green kingfisher near Clark's Crossing. Let me go back up and show you where Clark's Crossing is at. You can walk south from the bridge road. As you can see, it's 0.5 miles there, 0.9. So it's 1.4 miles to Clark's Crossing from that specific parking area. There's another parking area down here called Santa Gertrudis, which might be a little closer, but you could also possibly find some parking along here, other places. I can't remember for sure if there's parking right here at Clark Crossing or not, but I think there is. I'll be able to check that out. But this is the area right in here where green kingfisher is being seen lately. And it's actually July is a good time to try and find green kingfisher. I'll just tell you one thing about trying to find green kingfisher along the Santa Cruz River is that it can be frustrating. So just remember that green kingfisher is super small, much smaller than belted kingfisher. Listen for it. Again, I should have put the call on here, but listen to it ahead of time because that'll be a good indicator. But just remember, it's super small. It could perch on the smallest branch. It's not going to be probably not right out in the open like a belted kingfisher would be. And take your time. Just check out all the different little snags or sticks that are poking out of the water or above the water, and be mindful that it's a great time to look for it, and that's a great bird to find too. So I think Ken, do you have any? Anyone give me any questions? Yeah.
I don't really have questions here except for Debbie asked if besides muddy after rains, how are the roads? And that was back in talking about Empire Ranch. High clearance needed, and you answered that question in your talk, but basically only a couple of times that I've been down there have I ever really been glad I had four-wheel drive.
Yeah.
But that was an area that Amy and I visited many times because that was our breeding bird atlas site back in 1997.
Oh, cool.
And we've also visited many other times there. So you answered the question about Empire Ranch being in Vail. Probably it would be described as Greater Vail.
Yeah, probably.
Judith Ellison pointed out there's a black-bellied whistling duck at Amado Pond 20 minutes ago.
No, see, Judy, you proved me right. Like, this is the time to go see them. Like,
Yeah.
they probably haven't been around too long there, but they'll stick around throughout the whole month.
Right. Tom Barnwell pointed out that they were there. So he saw two of them there on June 21st. And he talked to Catalina State Park staff yesterday, and they said July 5th was the target date for opening.
There you go.
But to call before going, because sometimes target dates are not what we really hope they would be.
Any other questions particular to Danza, or do we go on?
Someone raised her hand, but I lost that person.
Okay. Well, we can always give them an opportunity to ask at the end too.
So put it in the chat box, please, and we'll get back to you.
All right. Cool. Thanks, Ken.
You're welcome.
Hey, so another spot that I would check out in July, if this is a little bit more specific. So if you're looking for a rare bird, here's an opportunity for you. And this rare bird being a buff-collared nightjar. So I don't know how many of you have ever seen a buff-collared nightjar. There's probably some of us who have never even heard of a buff-collared nightjar. Not colored, but collared, like around your shirt, buff-collared nightjar. And this location right here, California Gulch, Warsaw Canyon, where they come together, is the best known location for buff-collared nightjar. And right now they are most vocal. So June and July are the best times there to hear them and to see them. In fact, I had a friend who was there last night, and his 14-year-old daughter had to get out of the car to move the nightjar out of the road so that they could drive and get back home. So they waited like 5 minutes and it wasn't moving. But now's the time to go see them. It's a pretty amazing experience. I'll show you a little bit better map here, just to give you an idea before I show you the next couple slides. This is west of Nogales off of Ruby Road. And there are some questions about whether you needed high clearance or four-wheel drive for Las Cienegas. And you wouldn't necessarily need it there, and you definitely don't need high clearance or four-wheel drive for the Danza Trail. But yes, if you're going to California Gulch, Warsaw Canyon, high clearance for four-wheel drive is a very, very good thing, especially during July and August when there is a threat for monsoons. So right here, this is we unfortunately we can't get in big groups and do something like this, but oftentimes in July, Tucson Audubon will have a field trip that goes out to this location, usually led by Melody Kell, who is she's an awesome tour leader here in Southeast Arizona. And she usually leads that, and we have big groups that go out there. Can't really do that this year. But you can kind of see the lake. This is like the parking area right where California Gulch Road and Warsaw Canyon Road come together. And there's this big open area. And oftentimes you'll just sit there and wait for dusk to come. You'll start hearing common porwheels, elf owls, and then if you're super lucky, which in July usually everyone's super lucky, is you'll hear the buff-collared nightjar. And so I want to play that for you. Let me get that going here, and we'll be quiet and listen. So it's kind of, it doesn't sound anything like you would think like a common porwheel or Mexican whippoorwill, that is related to those two birds. But instead it's kind of like this kind of, I don't even know how to describe it. You heard it, so you can figure out your own, what's that called when you put words to something, to a sound, but anyway, that word's onto my tongue. But it's a pretty cool bird, and if you're able to see it, that's doubly impressive. But this is also what like that California Gulch area looks like right here as you walk up this road and see these hills, not hills, but kind of these kind of canyon that you're walking through, and you got the ridges on the side. This is great habitat for five-striped sparrow, which also during the monsoon season is when it's most vocal. When we talked about where to go birding in June, five-striped sparrow came up because that's when it starts to really start singing. But July, it's really apparent. July and August are probably some of the best months for five-striped as well. So if you get there early enough, you could look and listen for five-striped before you get down to that parking area to listen for buff-collared nightjar. I would say get there around 4:30, 5 o'clock, and bird the areas a little bit. Find varied buntings or Rufous-winged sparrows, hooded orioles, Cassin's kingbirds. Those would be some of the types of birds that you would expect there as you wait around for dusk to come. Do I have a map? Whoa, don't look. Let me go to the map and show you where it's at, because that I always find that helpful is when someone shows me a map. I think there's other people here who love maps as much as I do. I love them. So here's I-19. Just kind of do the big look at it. Las Cienegas over here, Tubac, Green Valley, and Nogales down near the south, so we can orient ourselves. You're going to go down towards Nogales, and you're going to take this exit right here, 289, which is also called Ruby Road. And so you take this Highway 289. This is all paved coming through here, and you head west. And this also goes to, some of you have probably been to this lake right here. This is Peña Blanca Lake. So this is all paved right to about, actually right past this 39 right now. They paved, there's a campground right here, and this is all paved now. And it's paved over here to Peña Blanca as well. Peña Blanca Canyon runs right here, and that's a cool spot to check out. But once you get past there, it becomes gravel. And so this Ruby Road it's an amazing, beautiful, beautiful area. Rugged. You're not going to have cell service. I would bring someone else with you that is in your germ squad, I guess. And so you don't really want to be alone going up here. It's quite a while. It's about 9 miles to Sycamore Canyon, which is right here. You go past Sycamore Canyon, and then I think it's probably like another 6 miles, or maybe 4 or 5 miles to the California Gulch Road. You'll go past the old ghost town of Ruby. I believe this is California Gulch Road. Yep. So just past Ruby, you'll see a little sign for Ruby. Believe it or not, they do have signs out there. And then you'll take this California Gulch Road. This is where it can start getting really hairy, and it's good to have at different times, and it is good to have four-wheel drive. You'll come all the way down this California Gulch Road, and you can see right here, this should be Warsaw, right? Or actually, no, it keeps going. That's not Warsaw. It just keeps going. Yeah, Warsaw down here. All right, so you keep going down the California Gulch. You bird this whole area right here, and you can hike down into California Spring, which makes it's a little bit hard to get down in there. But this is a spot where a lot of people have possibly found nuttings, flycatcher at different times. There's a lot of different sightings for nuttings through here. Some of them are real, some of them are not. Some of them are asteroid flycatchers, but you get excited. This is the confluence of Warsaw and California right here. And there will be a parking area right here. Let's go to, so you can see right here, you got California Gulch. You'll cross this kind of wash area. And then actually, and you keep going, and then this is the spot where you would park, right down in here. It'll be really apparent. Sometimes I know some friends who have camped down there. One time, I know of someone who had a rabbit-spotted skunk destroy their campsite in that area. So it's just a really weird area. Just to be aware, I've never had any issues, but it's can be a common spot for international travel. So just be aware of that. But the buff-colored nightjar, really the only other spot where it's been seen is along Brown Canyon in Buenos Aires. That's another location. But there's something about visiting this renowned California Gulch spot during the monsoon season. It's the best location. It's the best time. And for some people, it's the best bird they've ever seen or heard in the American Birding Association area, the ABA area. So it's a specialty of ours that is best seen or heard in July. Pretty interesting.
So we have a couple of questions for you,
Story?
Ruth.
Yeah.
So Linda wanted to know if Clark's Crossing is on Santa Gertrudis Road and if there is Deonza Trail parking there. And David answered her question pretty well about the parking, but I don't know if it's on that road.
Yeah, so it's actually here. I'll back up here and show you. So it's actually north of Santa Gertrudis. Not the same thing. You can see, all right, here's Tubac. Tumacacori is south of it down here. This road right here, as we scroll in, that's Clark's Crossing off the frontage road. Santa Gertrudis Lane, which is another kind of famous spot, should be down here. Not coming up. There, let's just look it up real quick. Oh, okay, yeah. That's why I was. Santa Gertrudis is south of Tumacacori. So Clark Crossing north of Tumacacori, and Santa Gertrudis is south. Now, Santa Gertrudis will be mentioned when we start more in the winter. Like, it's one of my favorite winter spots for Rufous-back robin. There's also been Sinaloa wren being seen off of it before. That's a good spot too. But right now, I would focus on the Tubac spot and then Clark's Crossing.
Okay, and Cubby wanted to know if that was a vermilion flycatcher at the end of your recording of the nightjar.
Oh, it might have been. There are vermilion flycatchers there at California Gulch as well. So, good ear. Actually, you might have a better ear than me. So, very possible.
And then one more question was what Warsaw Canyon Road is like.
Warsaw Canyon is just as bad as California Gulch, which means it's also a lot of fun. So it just depends on what kind of vehicle you have. You know, I have a Jeep, so I like to, whether it's true or not, I like to think I can get anywhere, and I like to get it muddy. Not every car is made equal, and I've also gotten a flat tire with my Jeep for thinking that. So what I would say the California Gulch, Warsaw Canyon, they're both rough roads, very passable with a high clearance or four-wheel drive, but just be careful on both of them.
Okay, that's all I have.
May I add that those roads are graded about once every 10 years, and if you get on it within a year or two of when they're graded, they're not so bad.
Yeah, Ruby Road is notorious. Like, if you look at the Finding Birds in Southeast Arizona book, or Rick Taylor's book, Guide to Southeast Arizona, or any of the other literature that's put out on that area, California Gulch, Warsaw Canyon, Ruby Road, people just really bag on it because it's a bad road. But it's, for the adventurous, that's a great spot to go. We're gonna wrap up here these last 5 minutes with these sessions. What I like to do is I like to give a rare bird to look for in the upcoming month, and then also a location outside of Southeast Arizona that's a really good birding location for the month. So let me get to both of those. The bird to look for this month is this plain-capped starthroat, which is a beautiful picture by Brian Holiday. This is, I myself did not have any pictures for plain-capped starthroat because the only one I've seen was in Costa Rica. They are Central American hummingbirds that come up into this area very rarely, but July is probably the best month to find one. One was reported last year off of Box Canyon Road, which is just north of Madera. There's been reports in the past in July at Santa Rita Lodge, at Ash Canyon, at the Ash Canyon Bird Sanctuary now. So There's also been reports at Sycamore Canyon, which is just in between Nogales and California Gulch. So where you want to look for these is kind of like that, not the high elevation and not like Sonoran Desert habitat or really low, but kind of like that mid elevation. It's a huge hummingbird. Look it up in your bird book. It's very big, so it stands out. It has this really pretty long, dark black bill, and a little bit of a red right on the throat. Because you can just see a little bit of that right there as this big white kind of like Meadowlark stripe right here. And so just be aware, just be looking for that guy or gal. And then as I was thinking about where to go birding in July outside of Southeast Arizona, I was talking with a few people about this, and what we decided is that it would be best for us this year, instead of traveling outside of Southeast Arizona to go look for different stuff, let's stay here in Southeast Arizona and work on immature, juvenile plumage of birds that we see every day. Anyone have a guess of what bird this is? Who can type it in fastest? And then someone let me know when someone types it in. Anyone have an idea what kind of bird this is? No one? Oh, there, I see something good.
Yeah, David asked if it's a Herman's gull.
So no, it's an immature, and it's found right here in Tucson.
A gallinule?
A baby gallinule, a baby common gallinule.
Gallinule.
This is one phase of the baby common gallinule. If you see them a little bit younger, they look like a little miniature turkey vulture. If you see them a little bit older, they start losing any of that orange on their bill, and it becomes kind of grayish. And then when they become an adult, of course, they become all mostly black with some brown on the wing, really red and yellow bill, white wing patch a little bit. So instead of traveling this month, which we all know we shouldn't be doing a lot of traveling, let's put in hard work. If there can be said such a thing that birding is ever hard work, but let's just take the time to slow down and look at all these different babies that causes so much identification problems, so that we're ready in the future. I think that learning the plumage of juvenile immature birds also helps you become a better birder when it comes to adults as well. So let's not travel this month. That's my cop out of, July is not that great of a month to go birding in a lot of different areas. It's actually a good time to come here. So it's a little bit of a cop out, but it's also, I think, smart, right? So learn your baby birds, your common gallinules, your ash-throated flycatchers, your baby house finches, and become a better birder. And I guess Tori or Marlene might have some final questions for me before we get there, before we wrap up. Just a few last tips. Plan for.
Somebody wants to know if they, if the I think they mean the gallinule, gallinule, if it has a lot of red color. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble saying that today.
No, that's all right. You could also say common moorhen. That's another way. So it used to be called common moorhen. So
they have a lot of red on them.
They can. So this is a great thing about immature plumage, is that it changes so fast. So this is kind of like maybe 4 weeks plumage right here. If you see a baby common gallinule that's a week, 2 weeks old, they'll be really black, but then they'll be bald up here to its head, and the head will be all red, and then the bill will be like really bright red too. But then as this guy gets older, maybe another 3 or 4 weeks, they'll become even more grayer, And then as they turn into adult, they become black with the red and yellow bill. So it just is one of those birds that paying attention to that plumage as it's growing adds a lot of, it acts as a good foundation for our identification skills. And it's often sometimes that we just kind of gloss over or blow over because it's hard. It is hard to kind of, see how something changes like that and trying to keep up with it.
One other comment. Can you say anything about the San Rafael grasslands and whether that's a good locale for the summer?
I would say that I like going to San Rafael grasslands in the winter. That can be a good spot for short-eared owl in the winter. Long spurs, visit the tanks and look for different things hanging around the tanks. Well, but it's not a spot that I would go out of my way to visit in July.
Lorraine wanted to know if the picture of the plain-capped starthroat was a female.
I have to I'll lean over and get my bird book. I'll be honest. This is a bird I've been looking for specifically during the summer that, yes, it's either a female or a drab male. But to me, it looks like a female. The male will have a little bit brighter red throat, looks like. And a darker, you got this white stripe right here. I believe this will be darker on a male. At least that's what it looks like in my bird book. That's the best I can do.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No, I don't see any other questions.
Okay.
Lots of people thanking you.
Well, hey, just the last couple things here. Just bring plenty of water. Don't drive through the washes when they're filled with water. Some of us are more cautious than others, but just remember that. And it's still hot, so just start super early. Those are all smart things. Yeah, I'll stick around for a little while if anyone has any other questions. But I just want to thank you all for being a part of this. Marlene, Ken, Tori, thank you so much for helping ask the questions and with the recording.
Yeah, I do have one question about that.
Yeah.
Make sure you let me know when I'm supposed to stop it.
Oh, it automatically stops when we end. You can actually stop it now since we've wrapped up. But oftentimes I won't even stop it. It just automatically ends when I shut it down.
All right. We didn't test that part.
No, we didn't. That's
Okay.
good. I'm gonna unmute everyone. So yeah, thanks for being a part of this. Here we go.
Hey, Luke.
Yes.
The word that you were thinking of is onomatopoeia.
Onomatopoeia. Right?
Oh, yeah, that is the word, onomatopoeia.
Where the word sounds like.
Maybe that's why I couldn't remember it, because I couldn't remember how to say it.
It's only onomatopoeia if it sounds like.
Hi.
But it could also be,
Hey, Chris.
mnemonic.
Oh, mnemonic device. Like a mnemonic device, that's another way of saying it. So like chickadee-dee-dee-dee, like with a chickadee that, I should say chickadee, but we put those words in it. Helps us remember it.
Thanks, Luke.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you, Luke.